I think the best way to describe the show truly is like a bantha. Really stinky at times.
Wait. I want to hear his philosophical thought.
Yeah, get this, right? Like a bantha, it kind of stunk at times, right? It was in the beginning very slow, very methodical.
God.
But when it sprinted, it got going. It was big, but it got gassed really fast.
I'm pretty sure Banthas never sprint though, but all right.
I don't.
No. When they got attacked, when the Tusken Raiders got attacked, the Banthas went shuffling off. That's their sprint. They move and then they stop. All right, welcome to Alternate Take. Today's episode is we're going to be looking at I Am the Book of Boba Fett.
I am.
We'll be taking a look at all of it and digesting it like a bantha and just.
All right, I'm gonna roll a 1d4. Ready?
I'm located inside a new Bacta tank, the latest model.
Latest
Gonna heal
model.
up?
Flashbacks in my
That
take.
looked like Palpatine's throne.
Beware of the nightmares, bro.
The Vietnam flashbacks in the back of the thing.
Okay, ready? Ready? Okay. Shajid, it is your turn. Give us a pro and give us a con.
So pro, we get to see the standoff between Boba and Cad Bane, right?
Okay, that's a pretty good one, yeah.
It was rumored that in Star Wars Clone Wars, right, the animated series, that was going to be one of the final scenes, right? Like one of the final episodes that we were going to see. And we never got it. There is like an animated draft version of it, right? So this is kind of the closest that we got. A con, right?
Here we go.
What's the con?
Wait, I have a wild idea of what it is, Shajid.
Do you have,
Does it
do you have
begin
a
with an
guess?
M and end with a D?
Yeah, it's my dick.
No. What is it, Shajid? What is it?
It's the fucking mods, bro.
Yeah, it's the mods. It's the
It's
mods.
the mods. It's a massive con in the episode. I think yesterday while we were watching it, right, we all agreed that we could have done the whole Book of Boba Fett season without them,
Yeah.
right? So, that has to be my con.
That's easily my con too, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
looking forward to the Space Power Ranger spinoff. That's my point of view.
Wait, Space Power Rangers or Space Spy Kids?
Both.
Both. They have to do both. You have to milk it.
Both.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
what's-
you've never
what-
watched Power Rangers. It's extra campy. It has to be both.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what was cooler? I feel like Power Rangers was cooler than like Spy Kids.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I would totally watch
Right.
a Space Power Rangers reboot where they bring Zordon and Alpha back to his hometown.
It's just the
And
color of
mods.
Power Rangers is what it was. They're all
Right,
very
yeah.
I guess
colorful.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also remind me of like Griff's team in Back to the Future.
Right.
Oh,
okay, I
yeah.
see that,
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
But see,
The
but
Yeah.
you know what's different about Griff's team and this is that they actually fit into that reality.
oh, damn,
Yeah.
Shajid.
Oh,
All right.
That's a good point, yeah.
All right, you guys ready to do some alternate takes now?
Yeah.
Okay, so my biggest gripe with this show, at least in like the first half, before it became the Book of the Mandalorian, when it was still the Book of Boba, what I really wanted to see though earlier on was like I will preface this though, I have not seen Clone Wars or a lot of the other shows. I've only seen like a couple episodes, so like I'm gonna need Shajid and Bobby to tell me where like, oh, they've already done this, Steven, get out of here, kid, you don't know what you're talking about.
What you got?
Basically, the whole first half of the show when he's in the Bacta tank, they should have just had that whole half just in the Bacta tank, where we understand he's in the Bacta tank. He's like going through whatever rejuvenation process he's going through, and we see mostly flashbacks, and a predominant amount of those flashbacks are him during the main trilogy. So like, what was it that he was hired for that Darth Vader knew about him? What were these things that were so big about that he became one of the most renowned bounty hunters? Why are we not seeing that as fans? Again, like, this could be already in Clone Wars. I'm not sure how much was already mentioned.
It's not.
Then yeah,
He's basically a kid in the entire show.
it's just like,
So
so you know how they showed that one flashback with the Slave One taking off multiple times? They did like 5 times. They showed the same flashback like 5 times, right? You know which one I'm talking about, Bobby?
Yeah, I know what you're talking.
You know what I'm talking about,
was
Shiji?
the Slave One taking off.
Yeah,
Right.
when
when
he's
they're
on
in Camino.
when he's still on Camino and he's a kid.
Oh, he's
Oh,
And
watching
it's
his
like
dad. Yeah,
stormy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was from one of the movies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
That was
yeah.
from
Yeah.
probably the second one.
Yeah, I think the second movie that was from.
Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
The Clone Wars movie. Yeah,
Attack of the Clone.
Attack of the Clone. That's what it was. Attack of the Clone.
Oh,
Someone did
okay.
that, right? Yeah.
My
But go on,
idea
yeah.
was like just extend that. Like why? Because like the flashbacks just end there, and then we skip like the entire length of Boba Fett's life that everybody wants to know about, and then
Yeah.
start off again with the Sarlacc pit. And so
I mean,
okay,
Yeah.
just the Tusken Raiders could have been a different part of the whole story. So like basically, my idea is start out the first third of the show going over Boba Fett. Obviously, I think this is pretty obvious at this point. This is going to be a 1-season show. I think it seems obvious,
I would
maybe.
assume so. I would assume so.
I would assume so at this point, right? Because it became the Book of Mandalorian, essentially. So,
Mando
Yeah.
2.5.
assuming this is a 1-season show,
That's
I
what
would have
John
done
Favreau said. It's like Mando 2.5. So I'm assuming it's a one-off limited series.
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
do that 1/3 of the show that had nothing to do with Mandalorian anyways. Just put it into fully Boba. Like all the fights he did, have those
Right,
fight scenes, have those action scenes.
So
Maybe you already have him meet Bane at one point, and then maybe in the middle third of the show, we understand his change of heart after the Sarlacc pit, the Tusken Raiders, and this allows a whole change later on. I don't know exactly where it's gonna go, so we have to figure that out. But it's just for me right now. I know that 1/3 has to change like that.
yeah, like one thing to go off of, I think a lot of Star Wars fans, right, came in with this conception that like the Mandalorians are rootless bounty hunters, right?
Yeah,
And we
I
get
did
that
for
with
sure.
right, and we get that with the Mandalorian, right? We got that image of like the first 2 seasons, you know, albeit he's like a different type, but we understand that they have some sort of respect. With Boba, I think a lot of the rumor that went around, especially during the original movies, right, was that he was he was the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, right? Like it's I think you said this, Steven. He was Darth Vader's like right hand man, right? Like he would get
Yeah.
sent out.
He's one of them. Yeah.
And Bobby can kind of attest to this too. But in the Clone Wars, the animated series, we just see him as a kid, right? We do see him meet Cad Bane, right? But we
Yeah.
just see him as a kid.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing with Boba Fett in general. I was just talking to somebody in person about this today, who had seen the show. Everything cool about Boba Fett is like just talked about and never seen, right? Like in the original trilogy, we just see that he looks cool, has cool armor, and he says a couple cool lines. But he's like 5 minutes of screen time, and then he dies by a blind Han Solo, being like, "Boba Fett, where?" And then he kills him by
It's true.
accident.
Yeah,
Right?
it's true.
And then we get this show where he comes back, and everyone's so hyped for that. And then he's just like a super soft old man who doesn't really want to do any fighting. So everything that we love about Boba Fett, we never see. And like Steven, we've talked about, like they put that into Din Djarin. Like everything cool about Boba Fett, that's like Din's personality now, right? Which I get. But those flashbacks would have been a great way to show some cool missions he's been on that are like only in Legend right now that they could have introduced, especially the Cad Bane stuff, because Steven had no idea who Cad Bane was because he hadn't seen the Clone Wars show. And me and Sajid immediately understood the significance of Cad Bane and Boba Fett. But like, you shouldn't expect people to watch like a 9-season animated show that's really like made for kids to understand the Book of Boba Fett, which ties to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's like a flashback showing him and Cad Bane having a face-off, and they could even use the same script for that unfinished Clone Wars episode where they had like that shootout. Would let everybody know, okay, cool, there's this blue guy who's like prominent to Boba Fett's past, and we see him do the cool missions, and then he shows up at the end of the show. It would have been a lot cooler than, oh, hey, let me like wiki look up who this Cad Bane guy is so I can find out what his backstory is. And oh, he mentored Boba Fett. I didn't know that. It's like, oh, use the show to show us that, you know, like, and also to see Boba Fett actually cool. Like we never see Boba Fett at his peak. You know, we technically see it in the original trilogy, but like he literally captures Han Solo and then dies like a chump. You know what I mean? Like because his jetpack malfunctions.
Exactly the problem.
So like, I think that would solve all those problems that you just said, Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like my two things with it is like, I just didn't like like in Mando, we see armorless, super like from the grave, Boba Fett, and he's like super hardcore. He's got a staff.
Very good point. I forgot about that. That's a very good point.
And that's technically pre-Bacta.
That's
Yeah.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
pre-Bacta, yeah.
And then,
He was fucking them up.
Yeah, he really
and then we get
was.
to this, and it's like I need to heal him back to
Complete
tank.
turnaround for no reason.
Yeah.
360.
Yeah.
Honestly, Joe Shimura, that's the best point because that shows they just changed his character. They
Right.
didn't like, oh, he was always just no. You
No.
literally saw him in Mandalorian. He was a badass, and then all of a sudden he's like, no,
Without any armor.
yeah.
He just
And also that was
straight-
after the Tusken Raiders because he had the Tusken
Right.
Raider
And-
thing.
Yeah, the staff.
Yeah.
That was after the Tusken Raiders, and that was after his clan died too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
quite
after
recent.
this.
It was quite recent to the show.
He was,
actually,
he
it
was
was pretty recent.
pissed. Exactly.
He had just gotten back.
He had
So-
just gotten back. Yeah.
Because
So go.
like just to finish, it's like midway through the season we even catch up with that in the flashbacks.
Exactly. So it literally ties directly into the first thing we see in this show.
Right.
So it's like it just happened. So there's no reason why he's all of a sudden like super weak and needs to heal before he can fight.
Yeah, and I feel like it could have been an insane amount of really cool set pieces and tiebacks to both Clone Wars. They could have started out when he was a kid. We could have seen what happened to him after he was a kid, and then the main
Dave
trilogy.
Filoni loves a prequel, so you think Dave Filoni would have wanted to do some?
Yeah,
prequel
you could have
scenes,
done
you
both
know?
the prequels
Wow.
and the main trilogy. Give those callbacks. I mean, can you like the Luke Skywalker episodes are easily the best episodes of almost anything in Star Wars. Imagine if there was more callbacks to the original trilogy like that.
Well,
Yeah.
even the Order 66 scene that we got, like the little snippet of it with Grogu, right? That was fucking amazing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
another scene I had
was really good.
that popped into my head what I thought would have been really cool is if like maybe not we saw all the characters or whatever. It's a bit difficult to do that, but we get another flashback of Boba while he's on Cloud City. So we see something like that, like while he has Han Solo.
That would have been cool. I think we definitely should have seen him with Jabba the Hutt in one of the flashbacks to remind us of like how he was working with him and like doing the bounties for him, just to kind of give us a reminder of him working with the Hutts, because then they are a plot point in the show.
And the Hutts were gone too fast too.
Yeah,
I think one of the cooler things to do would have been if you cut out like the total time for the mods like story in like I think episode 3, and instead what you could do is integrate flashbacks of him training with Cad Bane while he's in the Bacta tank, and like link that to him being delirious while he's with the Tuskens, you know?
Yeah.
Because like obviously he was just sitting out there in the sun, so it's like as he passes out from like heat exhaustion, heat stroke, he flashes back to his training, right?
Yeah.
And that's
what's
Cad Bane kind of like teasing.
And you don't need like a lot of episodes, right?
You don't need
like,
a lot because you just need the context that there is a relationship between the two of them, right?
Like
Yeah,
they
that's
could
all
have
I
started
needed.
off. They could have started off with like him reemerging from the Sarlacc pit, right? Cut to scene, right? Book of Boba Fett, right? Awesome theme music, and then they could have went to his father's head getting chopped off by Mace Windu, right? And it could have just been a series of just flashbacks.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. We don't
Right?
need full episodes of him. There's just like little scenes to remind to show us like what's
Right.
going on through like a quick
like, okay.
timeline catch up.
Right, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, his father died. Then what happened? Right, then we get into Star Wars: The Clone Wars, where he gets kind of recruited into this bounty gang. Right, he's part of this bounty guild, and he goes around. How that affected his childhood, right? Then how Cad Bane was maybe a second father figure to him, right?
Yeah.
And it's like
Definitely.
we get that in the cartoon series, but we don't get that in the show.
Yeah, if I had any understanding, sorry to cut you off, Shajid. If I had any understanding that Cad Bane and Boba were that close, those scenes would have been insane.
Right.
Yeah, they would have been insane. I didn't know until you just said it that they were that close.
Yeah, like I think Sajid mentioned this while we were watching the episode, but like technically it's canon that Cad Bane caused the dent on Boba Fett's helmet.
Right.
And Boba
Yes,
Fett's the
I
reason
did
that-
catch you saying that. Yeah.
And Boba Fett is the reason why Cad Bane has like a plate on his head.
Right.
Like they both shot each other in the head.
Because they had that shootout.
They had that
right?
shootout,
They
yeah.
had
Okay.
a shootout.
Which is canon apparently, even though they didn't finish the episode. I think it's still canon.
And that's the thing. They could have had a callback to that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they should have. They had
Yeah,
it
like Josh
written
had
out
said.
already.
Like Josh
Like
said,
Cad
we could have.
Bane in his raspy voice could have been like, "I gave you that dent," right? Like something. I don't.
Yeah.
fucking know,
Yeah,
right?
they
kind of
could just
callback
show
to
that
it.
scene because even though if it happened in Clone Wars, a lot of people haven't seen Clone Wars.
Exactly.
And it didn't happen.
Yeah, they never finished the episode. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not
they
released.
totally could have done that then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Joshin said, we could have replaced that like with the mod people, like replace those scenes with something that genuinely more interesting in my opinion.
Yeah. So what I was saying was the power scaling, right? So like pre this Book of Boba Fett was actually like really good at like overall strategy and like doing these kind of guerrilla missions, right? Like between saving Mando and then taking back his armor and Jabba's palace, right? In Mando, and then even taking on the train with the Tusken Raiders, right? That was it. That like you could see he has the thinking, and then you get to Book of Boba Fett, and he's just like, all right, we're gonna defend the town. Oh, we're
Yeah.
just gonna talk. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a smart move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were a lot of problems with the actual like logistics of everything. Like a lot of it made no sense. Like just his mindset made no sense to me throughout the entire thing. Like
For the
trying to build
last
that a little
episode, you
bit.
mean?
No, the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing.
There were just
Like
poor
his,
choices.
his choice didn't make any sense. Like I feel like he kept saying he wanted to be a crime lord guy, but like every time we see him do anything, he's acting like a sheriff.
Yeah.
He never acts like a crime lord at all.
He acted more like
The Cobb Vanth. They were like a Cobb
yes.
Vanth type of guy, like a marshal, we'll call him, like Marshal Fett. Like he never acted like the new Jabba the Hutt. And it's like like give us the Boba Fett who's like has good intentions, but like isn't afraid to get his hands really dirty sometimes, like
Listen,
Fennec Shan does, you know? Because
I
Boba
don't
Fett
even
never did
mind
anything
that.
bad in the show.
Because like remember like when he was talking with Fennec, right? Like his whole thing was he wanted to make like a place that cared about the bounty hunters because nobody else ever cared about them. They just got shitty jobs with really hard conditions, right?
Yeah.
So I understand like him caring about the people in his empire. But what I don't understand is, right, his whole point was also why work for people who don't understand the craft, right? When you could have the best bounty hunter in the world, somebody who knows the ins and outs. And then he just acts like an idiot half the time.
He does. He
He
has
just
no
forgets
like
everything.
strategy
Like
at all. It's all Fennec
his
Shand. Fennec
yeah,
Shand is like should be the main character of the show
Yeah.
at a certain
Yeah.
point.
that's the weirdest part. It's just
She
like his intellect went from being the best bounty hunter in the galaxy to being like a bantha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
There you go.
Yeah.
How long do you think about that joke, Joshin?
oh, I was
That was solid. That was solid.
you know you gotta get those like a bantha.
But no, like, okay, so how could you guys change that? So like right now we have the first third plotted out where it's basically a backstory on his life, and then we get to the end of this third, maybe half-ish of the season, knowing we're gonna have Mandalorian come in. Right, we're gonna have the whole Grogu sequence, so we have to have those 2 episodes reserved for that, and then the finale, right? So like, what's your middle ground with the Tusken Raiders, obviously, for getting us to believe this Daimyo, or maybe just change it to flat up, maybe make him a marshal?
Nah, keep the Daimyo storyline. I like the idea because then it kind of I like calling it the Daimyo. I don't know, it feels right. It's very crime underlord. It's very seedy. I like underworld.
But
But
actually
what you do
actually be a daimyo, right? Actually
that
right.
be
That's-
crimey
So
and
the
seedy,
way I
right?
think you fix this is so even in episode 3 they're still doing the introductions, right? The merchants are still being introduced. So what you do is you introduce a merchant based like kerfuffle, right? So this is how you keep the mods but you don't have the mods as big. The water merchant still comes in, but now he's hired his own security and they've apprehended the mods, right? So he brings the mods to Boba and explains the situation, right? They robbed him for the water. And then it's the same water storyline, right? But now the merchant fires back with the fact that, he had to jack his prices up because the Tusken Raiders have been acting up and taking over the Great Sand Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been stopping any transports that are coming in. Right? So that's causing the jacked up prices.
Yep.
So now Boba has to interact with the Tusken Raiders. They know the legend of how
I like
they stopped
this.
the sandworm. And later on, that's how you reintroduce the Tusken Raiders in the final fight instead of having the mods. That's it.
It's good.
I
Yeah,
like
I was
it.
trying
And
to.
you
Yeah,
also limit Freetown.
Oh wait, I
Yeah.
have one thing I thought about last night is what if we change the mods? I was just thinking about this. We don't like the fact that they're edgy teenagers. No, I don't think any of us like that. So I was thinking, what if they're a bunch of like old men?
yeah. That's actually. I was thinking like if they were like veterans of the Galactic Civil
Yeah.
War who were all injured and shit, and they had like that would work and be pretty cool. Like Clint Eastwood type old grizzled
Yeah.
dudes, you know.
Like
And
old,
they were
I
like-
don't mind them
and-
being young. I could get with like young vets that are just like back. Like the young officers who finally returned to Tatooine, the ones who left because they thought
It did just. Yeah, that's right. It did just happen actually, so it would make sense to be
Right.
old. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
They're
right,
like 20 years. I mean, I guess they're
Yeah.
like 20. It's only 20 years, right? Like
Well, I think it could have been like a Fennec Shan type of thing. Like it could have been a group
Yeah.
of people that were about
like
to
injured.
die,
They're like injured in the war.
right?
Yeah.
And
I
the
think just
main,
don't make them silly.
right, like the main modder who was like, he looked fine. Like the
Yeah.
main modder who.
Yeah, he was cool with that.
Thundercat-
Like,
Yeah,
that
he was cool.
droid hand. That was
Thundercat?
really cool. Yeah.
He looked cool, right? And it's like adopt that personality. Like don't add in like fishnets and like orange colored stuff and like a weird eyeball thing. Like If you're gonna add that,
the
make
weird
it make
fingers
sense.
also. Yeah, like don't
Right?
like keep don't have like bright crimson colors like these
Yeah.
huge
Right.
like super
Technically,
huge
technically,
fingers.
Darth Vader's a mod, right?
No, he is.
everyone's a mod, man.
He's the most mod in like
Right?
the entire saga.
Luke's a mod. Luke's a mod too. He
From
loses
this
his
very
fucking
scene,
hand.
by the
From
way.
this very scene, right? But see, that's the thing is that okay, you
works.
want to show off your mod pieces, then go all like Terminator, right? Like
Yes.
instead of hiding it, make it apparent, and that would be so badass. But you don't have to add the colors, right?
Yeah, also,
I'm
we
just
could have
thinking-
some cool callbacks to like the prequel trilogy with like the droid. Give us like a cool like battle droid hand or something, you know?
Yeah.
I mean that's actually what the modder guy has. He has a battle
Yeah,
droid mod.
that,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
main guy had that, right? Yeah, yeah.
No, I was just
That's why
saying,
he
like,
was cool.
I feel like in general, whenever you're trying to go for the angsty teen vibe, it almost never works. So I was thinking
No.
just circumvent that in general. Like even if it's like a semi older vet, it's not a 16-year-old who has no idea what's going on. If there was someone who he's even like moderately young, but like they fought in the war, okay, that's totally
Like
different person
30s,
now.
like 30s.
Yeah, 30s is
Yeah.
totally different than
Yeah.
because that one scene in the last episode where the girl's like, "No, I know what we should do," to the Freetown people who know how to fight things already, and they're like, "Yeah, you know what?" She makes a good point. It's like, no, this is completely nonsense now. This isn't Princess Leia who has been trained to do this stuff for years, and we understand why she's doing it. This is a random girl who we found because she couldn't find water. Like it's totally different. It just didn't click.
Yeah, so yeah,
I'm
definitely. I think also too for me, like with the big plot point stuff though, like the bigger scale stuff, I really think for me the Pike Syndicate didn't really work that well.
Yes.
Like Steven, you mentioned the huts.
The huts were gone so fast.
I think there
I
was
forgot
no-
about the huts.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think there was no reason to get rid of them. The Pikes coming in for me had me expecting this like much bigger battle to happen at the end because the Pikes have this giant like spice trade throughout the galaxy. Whereas like if it's two Hutt siblings or like whatever they're like, cousins or whatever, if it's just two of them trying to retake a Jabba's territory, it makes sense that the fight would be a little bit smaller scale, like we saw at the in the last episode. And also, it's like it's Tatooine. Like we're used to seeing a Hutt in charge. It'd be kind of a cool,
Yeah.
like a little thing, just have like the Hutts trying to
Yeah.
reclaim Jabba's territory instead of them like immediately leaving because the Pikes were coming. And you know, what? If you're not gonna have the Pikes, because when they said another syndicate's coming in, I got real hype that we were gonna see Crimson Dawn, which is like Darth
Right.
Maul's crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Just anything for some reason the Pikes just didn't work for me. I don't know why.
So one thing, you go, Joshin.
No,
Go.
I was just saying, like on that note, like I mean, like the way the Hutts describe it, the Pike Syndicate is just as big as them, like galactic wise.
Yeah.
Like the Reach is just as big, and like learning a little bit more about Tatooine's current history, I kind of get why the Pikes were like, we lost 20 people here. It's just not worth it. We can move our spice somewhere else. Like the people on Tatooine are kind of like poor and they don't really have much to offer anyway. So,
Right,
like,
but
why
see,
bother wasting anything there?
one thing that you have to remember is that practically all of Star Wars, right? At least the original trilogy, Tatooine was like the center hub of it, right? Right,
Yeah,
Jabba-
but
Well, Tatooine was always an outer world, like an outer rim world. It was always
Right.
like a rinky-dink place. But for
Okay.
some reason, the Pikes did want to sell spice out of there. It wasn't like a useless like thing to them, you know.
Right.
I mean, 'cause
They
it
were
was
willing
the
to fight
seedy
Boba Fett for
underbelly,
it.
right? Like
And they
all
hired
of the,
Cad Bane.
Yeah, all the bad people kind of came to hang out at
Yeah.
Tatooine because nobody wanted to go to Tatooine.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I see,
It was
I see, I
easy
see.
to conduct business there, smuggling and things,
I
right?
see. Okay.
But it wasn't like they were getting a lot of like customers or big payouts, right? It's not like a Coruscant or like a Naboo or anything.
No. But here, I think with the Pike Syndicate, they, in my head at least, they seem to be more unified, like as like a front, right? Well, okay, if you're like working for the Pike Syndicate, you kind of work for the entire Pike Syndicate, right? They're like a one unit kind of thing. Whereas with the Hutts, it's like a thing that they have problems even with
Yeah.
each other. Like I think one of them was like hired an assassin to kill another Hutt for territory. So like it would make sense to me that these two siblings could only hire, like 100 troops or so to try and claim Tatooine. Whereas with the Pikes, I was like, why wouldn't they get like 1,000,000 more people to come claim if they wanted to? Whereas like if it was just the two Hutts, yeah, they have like limited resources. It's like enough for Boba Fett to fight off, but like not so much that it's like ridiculous. Like I said, I was expecting a much bigger fight than what we got in that last episode.
So I think part of it is because it wasn't really touched on much, but it was kind of lightly touched on in the end when the mayor is sitting there with the Pike Syndicate representative. So the Pike Syndicate was gonna basically bring a lot more traffic and prosperity to the Mos Espa, right? and like through the fact that they would be kind of operating out of there, and the benefit to them was that they would have a safe place to operate.
Yeah.
So the minute that they had to get into this kerfuffle, and then they lost 2 droids, and like 20 people, 30 people, then they were like, it's not even worth it. Because like first off, between that and losing Spice to Cobb Vanth, right? Like I think they just realized it just was not worth it at all to move to there. They could move to other places.
I get the logic of it, but it's like they were trying so hard to claim it in the first place that they hired Cad Bane, which is like probably like the most famous bounty hunter at this point in the thing. I feel like they already, and like also they had
That's
those
true.
2 giant droids already there to claim it. I feel like they already gone through so much trouble to try that. Like they're like, oh yeah, we lost 20 guys to get it now.
Yeah, I see what
It
you're
seems
saying.
kind of like
go
it seems
all
kind of
in.
weird to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Just go all in or not, you know.
Yeah, don't be half baked. Yeah.
Whereas like if
And
it was
also-
the Huts, I'd buy them having a smaller resource.
Okay.
To
I
go
see
Yeah.
what
with.
you're saying.
And the Pike Syndicate is massive, right? There was a big story arc in like the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
during-
Yeah.
So I find it hard to believe that they just magically aren't that big
Even
of a
without
deal.
knowing that, I understood the Pike Syndicate was massive because when the Hutts were like, "Yo, we're dipping," they made it pretty clear that they were scared of the Pikes, and then
Yeah,
the Pike
right.
exactly,
Syndicate.
exactly. And it's like you expected some crazy thing. It was like
Yeah.
20 guys showed up. It's like, come on, like, you know. So I think if the Huts had stayed as the main antagonist,
The
I know
smaller
that you
fight
guys-
would have made sense. So, which would you have
Yeah.
preferred to see though? Would you prefer to see the smaller fight, or would you
I would have
prefer...
preferred a much bigger fight, but I don't think it would be possible with the budget or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
clearly.
But we don't have a
So-
budget here, Alternate Takes, so you
My
can do whatever you
Okay.
want.
Then yeah, then I'd give me a bigger fight then.
Bigger fight, bigger
Yeah.
fight.
Do you think we'd have a bigger fight if Fennec Shan didn't kill the Pike representative?
No, he was leaving anyway.
Oh, he was
At
like,
that
I
point,
guess he
yeah.
was about to bounce anyway. Right?
Yeah, he was leaving anyway. Or yeah, you know what? If they had explained it like that like they cut off, like traffic and Fennec Shan messed up, so like they had to have a smaller force there, then I'd buy it too. It just made no sense to me that there was so little of them there.
And it was
That,
also
like Boba Fett and like the 20 Freetown guys even had a chance against the Pike Syndicate. It didn't make sense to me.
the placement
And-
was pretty bad too. Like you were saying after we had watched it, you were like you didn't like how discombobulated the whole fact that whole sequence felt.
Yeah.
Why didn't Boba ever use his ship? Right? Why didn't we
Oh,
ever
yeah.
see Slave One? Right? You
That's the
see,
thing.
right? It's like what the hell? It's just I get that he went back to get like the Rancor, and we get that awesome Rancor scene, right? And
Yeah.
that was amazing. But he could have autonomously sent his ship come back to him, like we've seen him use that feature.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good point.
I feel like him and the Mandalorian should have gotten in their ships, and then like the Pikes would have also had their ships because they had some cool dogfight scenes.
Right.
Because like you'd
Also-
expect that from the Pike Syndicate, like gunners and stuff.
Can we talk about how Bantha Intellect Boba over here was like, I got all these credits, let's buy some muscle. He gets the Mandalorian, man. He says, I'll do it for free. Mando goes to Cobb Vanth. Boba's like, I don't need to hire anybody. You're facing off the entire syndicate. Do you not think maybe
Dude,
I should just buy some people too?
they could have brought Bosk back in because him and Boba were actually close in the lore, like, the Clone Wars show. It's like there's some things they
Well,
could have done to make the
they had
fight
Chrysanthemum.
bigger and more believable.
So what
You
I
know?
thought so okay, so like just before we go into the last sequence of the finale, so we're gonna keep the Hutts then? Is that what, or do you want to keep the Pike Syndicate and actually make
It's
them
up to
big?
you guys. It's up to you guys.
I
think the
feel like we
Hutts
should
would be
just keep
better.
the Pike Syndicate and then have a big fight.
We could do that, yeah. I mean, like you said, if there's no budget here, might as well do that.
I think we should just do that, and then because the Pike Syndicate seemed pretty ominous, so I was kind of hyped for that, and I feel like that's where we should have went.
Right.
And then what we could do is I feel like here's my question: do we have it where the Pike killed off the Tusken Raiders that were his friends?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and then
I think yeah, but make it a bigger deal though,
make it a bigger deal.
because it didn't even matter in the show.
And then do we make it like do we have a scene after those Tusken Raiders that were his friends were killed, where Boba knows other Tusken Raiders and they know of him in a good light?
Yes, I think we need that.
I think
I
that's
think
important too. Yeah,
Like
okay.
Josh was saying earlier, I think we need somehow to make it that we see him talking to him in the present day,
Yeah.
and like that's who he goes to for help with the Pike Syndicate, because that's very believable.
Yeah, so my idea of the final battle scene is not in the city. Because I was like, he wants to be the daimyo of this city. This
Yep.
is just my idea. So
Yeah,
like, this is what we had to workshop, because I don't know how good this is. but I wouldn't want them to destroy my city. And his city got destroyed. And you understand that that's what's going to happen when you have a battle somewhere.
The mods were like, let's fight in the city. And he's like, yeah, okay, let's just
Yeah,
fight.
he literally fought in the kill zone.
Dude,
it reminded me of
like,
Iron Man
like,
2.
It was like, we can't abandon the city. We have to fight for it. And it's like, dude, you're keeping the fight in the city, though, by doing that.
You're destroying the city.
Made no sense.
I feel like it was also very like echoey to season 1 Mando when Moff Gideon shows up with all the troopers right in front of the bar.
It does, but the thing is, Mando didn't have a choice with that. That was completely by accident. It wasn't like he strategically thought of that. There was an oopsie along the way, and then they found out he was there and ambushed him. It's totally different.
Like, it was also the fact that the mods were like, "This is our city."
Which is just also like
very
why.
stupid.
Well, again, we don't have those mods in our version.
Moff Gideon had more soldiers than the Pikes.
See,
that's a very good point.
It was so small scale, man.
And the Republic had just fallen.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Empire had
just fallen.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
dude. That's what I'm saying.
The Empire had just fallen,
sense.
and he had so many. He had Dark Troopers in season 2 of Mando.
Yeah.
This is happening after season 2 of Mando. If there's Dark Troopers and so many clone troopers, I find it hard to believe that, the Pike Syndicate couldn't have done that either, right?
Exactly. It felt so like small budget, like straight to TV movie type kind of thing.
It's 2.5, right? It's Mando 2.5, right?
Yeah.
The episodes, what was it, 5 and 6? Those were the episodes. Those were the episodes that we wanted.
I want like a Dune level battle. You know, like that would have been believable to me. Like that Dune fight. Like
I haven't seen Dune.
Wait, so my idea then is so he leaves. He does leave the city. He doesn't listen to the mods. We don't have those mods anyways.
We don't have those mods yet.
So what he does is he decides, okay, we know the Pikes are coming. We know where they're coming from and how they're going to get here. Right? Let's just pretend this is how it happens, where they understand the travel path that the Pike Syndicate is going to try and take to get to his city. He understands there's going to be some people who are not going to follow that. They're going to try and do maybe a pincer move with a much smaller garrison of troops. So maybe he leaves some troops behind. He uses some of the funds he has from the fact that he is a daimyo to actually create an army. And most of his army actually comes from Tusken Raiders. And while he basically intercepts the Pike Syndicate in a canyon, like we saw in the original Star Wars first one. So like that kind of canyon where we met Obi-Wan? Imagine that's where all of a sudden the Pike Syndicate's walking through, and Boba has with his whole army, the Tusken Raiders come out and ambush them, and it's a major fight that happens there. And that's where the fight happens. And then that's like part 1 of the fight, because obviously that's just
the first wave.
And then there are other people, because he had a whole other garrison ready to go, and like Bobby had said, they're probably not going to just stop with. Maybe they have those big droids, right? So maybe instead of the Rancor, maybe they get into their ships. Maybe there's other things going on. We have a whole episode worth of an actual strategic battle that is, I would say, proportional at least to the legends of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So that's what I really feel like would have been an awesome battle sequence with the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, I feel like those droids, the way they handle them in the show, just was so weird. Because it was like, oh, the stakes are so high, these droids are like unkillable. But also, like, the people of Freetown and the mods were, like, running away from one, literally 5 feet in front of it, and no one died.
Yeah.
Like, it shot nobody.
These people fought a crate dragon, right? Like, the crate dragon would have been a better opponent than these.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, when they kept shooting them and following them, I'm like, wait, is it a danger? Because it doesn't seem like it is.
I will say, I feel like just from a writing perspective, the droids were a weird thing to throw in there, because like, oh, these are so unkillable, there's no way you could beat them, but also this group of 10 people is going to survive it. And it's like it was just an excuse for the Rancor to show up, I feel like, but it's like, make it not so ridiculously overpowered, but then also like it can't hurt anybody. It's like
or what if you brought back the Dark Troopers? What if the Pike Syndicate got their hands on some Dark Troopers, right? And then they like modded it to them. I don't know, it was just an option, right? That would have been way better, and it would have set more suspense than, oh yeah, these droids that we really don't know what they're doing, right?
There's also a lot of bounty hunters that we know about. Instead of the droids, it could have been like the Dark Troopers. It could have been like some other famous bounty hunters that we've seen.
Dude, that would have been so cool. Imagine like a multiple, like instead of just Bane, it was like multiple different bounty hunters we had heard about. It was basically a bounty hunter war. That would have been so cool.
That'd been dope.
Which would have, honestly should have been, because Boba Fett's a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think generally we just finished it up. That's a pretty good alternate take in my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
I really wanted to see those Clone Wars and original trilogy scenes. So that's why I had to have
That's
that in
yeah,
there.
that's like the main vibe change in the beginning. If you alter those scenes, a vibe of the show is completely different after that. You
Yeah,
know?
because if you're able to, basically the idea is if you're able to have major callbacks to the Boba Fett we all know in our legends in the first third of the show, you're not bored to halfway through. You remove the cringe, get rid of those mods. That was the
Yeah.
only cringe. Just remove it, and,
Yeah.
and the show was pretty good. Like you're halfway through the show, it's pretty good. You're enjoying it, and then Mandalorian, Grogu, and the finale come in. You're like, okay, this was worth it. This was an awesome show.
Yeah, like the best parts of the show was any time Boba Fett wasn't there, basically, which is
Which
kind
is
of
sad.
sad.
Yeah.
Because he's like my favorite Star Wars character, but like he was just so boring.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
The-
like, he was a grandfather in this, you know.
The
Yeah, but
entire episode is dedicated to the Patu. That was
Yeah.
that,
Batu!
there it goes. There, that was some good soup. That was where it was at.
Batu!
That was
Yeah,
the-
man, my heart. It's
That-
Dude, he's okay. Yeah, he's so fucking cute though, Baby Yoda. Like, come on.
That
I
that,
can't-
that
I really
walk
every
wanted
though.
to
scene
see him
is
do
in-
some flips while he was like on Tatooine while he was.
That
like,
would've been cool. Yeah, they put all the money in that one episode though, with him flipping.
yeah,
Yo, that one episode though with him and Luke,
Oh.
that defeats the entire sequel trilogy in
That
only
was
like
good.
30
That's the
minutes.
sequel we needed.
It
There were
is.
so many good scenes. with
So
the
many good
show.
scenes in that.
I'm so
like-
hyped for Mando season 3 after this. After
Oh
these
yeah.
episodes.
Oh yeah. I
So
hope
hyped.
Bryce Dallas Howard's directing like half of that because her
Dude,
her
that
episode was the
so
best.
good. That episode was so good. That she
Oh,
directed.
on that note, let's go into the ranking.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
That top. That episode was top.
That's the best one. That's my vote. What do you guys
So
think?
so that's the one where we first see Luke, right?
Mm-hmm. No, it's
Right.
the
No.
is it the
Oh, it's
one?
the man.
one
It's the
before
man.
that.
It's the Mando. It's the
It's
Mando
the
I
first
episode.
think it's
Mando episode.
four. I
Yes,
think it's
okay.
four.
4 and then
Because
5 is the Luke episode.
Five
Five
was
was the
directed
episode.
by Filoni himself,
Mhm.
right? That was,
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
That's
that
why
one has
agree.
Ahsoka in it.
Exactly.
Bryce
He's like,
Dallas-
I got this one, guys.
yeah.
Bryce Dallas Harper episode first, right? She
Yeah,
makes
episode
us
4.
feel so immersive in the environment, right? I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when we were watching, I was like, "Wow, guys, that was just one take."
We all went quiet. We all went quiet
Yeah,
for a while.
I
too.
remember you said this to GD.
I didn't. What I didn't realize is that the take was still continuing after I said that, because what happens is that the take starts when he's carrying the head into the elevator,
Yeah.
right? He goes up the elevator. He goes out of the elevator. He presents the head. The take is still going. It's still one take.
Yeah.
He exits the room, goes back in the elevator, and that's when I was like, "Oh wow, good one take." And I thought they cut it. They continued it when he went down, when he found
Yeah.
the Mandalorian headquarters.
I will
So-
say that episode particularly, like after seeing the first 3, and like I was like, okay, this show's like pretty low budget. It's kind of like looks kind of cheap and plasticky, kind of. That
Yeah.
episode felt like watching a movie in
Yeah.
like a movie theater all of a sudden.
It really did
There's a
feel
huge,
cinematic.
There's a huge contrast. Yeah, very
I mean,
cinematic
'cause
episode.
all the episodes before, they were just telling us everything. That was the episode they showed it. They didn't show and they didn't tell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that was the one with the where he goes on the transporter, right, and the kid's looking at him, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
like that right there. That scene was just so memorable, and it was so well done. Everything was so
Yeah.
well done. Even that Halo
Feel
world.
the actual acting, though. You could feel the character.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it really comes down to like the director getting everybody amped for a scene, like getting every person involved. Like because you can just tell whatever it was with that episode, it was the best.
By far.
And then I think the second one has to be the one with Luke.
Where we see Luke, bro,
Yeah.
that almost made me cry when
Yeah,
I was watching it.
I
It
was
was
real
just-
close
Dude,
to tearing
that
up.
Order 66 flashback,
Oh, awesome!
forget it.
Just
That was
insane,
awesome.
insane. As someone who grew up with the prequels, like watching Revenge of the Sith, like, come on,
It was awesome. It was awesome.
I feel
Well,
like that
like
one
all-
episode, just did justice to fans who were there for like 40 years and fans who were kids in the 2000s. Oop, we lost Shajid. He's
I'm
back.
back.
We thought we lost
Alright,
you for a second.
Good. All right.
I know.
So we got that's 1 and
4,
2.
5.
Like
I
all
think-
good roller coasters, we must come down.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah, here it's pretty big drop off.
I
Yeah.
would say 6 is next for me.
You think 6?
What-
Oh yeah, the last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
6.
The-
That's 7. I thought that's
No.
7's the last.
Sorry, 7.
Oh, yeah.
Seven's the last one. 6. So
There's
we
7
had
total, that's right.
it was 4, 5, and 6 were with Mando, right? Was it 3?
Yeah.
I got you guys.
I think that 2.
Yeah, Shajid, can you pull up a list?
Yeah, I think 2 was the one that was really good. There was one with Boba Fett that was really good. I think it was 2.
There
that I
was
liked a
one.
lot.
There was the one that he spent a lot of time with the Raiders, the Tusken Raiders, with. That was an
Yeah.
awesome episode. The one where he makes his weapon. I really liked that episode a lot.
Yeah, and also the
That
one
was
where he
the third
actually
one, wasn't
where
it?
he guns down the biker guys and
Awesome. Yeah, that was an awesome
Yeah,
episode.
that was all the third.
where he
one.
gets that.
Can you guys see my screen?
Let's
We
see.
got 'em all.
Alright,
Oh,
here we go.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
let's see.
smart man, smart man.
So here we have, episode 5, right? This is Bryce Dallas Harper episode, right?
Okay.
Right. So this one we
Oh.
said number
Oh,
1.
it's 5, not 4.
Oh. Okay. So
Right.
so
And
how
then this
Howard directed the 5th one then?
Yeah.
Okay, and then so 6 is number 2.
6 is number 2.
Okay.
And
Got
then Joshin, you're saying 7 is number 3?
There's like no description
No,
on these
I
episodes.
feel like
here.
that there's another Boba episode that was better. It's
Yeah.
Not 1. 1 was bad, I think.
2.
Was it 2?
I think 2 was it. Yeah.
I feel like 2 was the one where they were doing all the more interesting flashbacks. Or maybe
Right.
3.
Oh no, it's gonna go into the episode.
All right, get out of it.
Get
Oh.
out.
Get out!
So episode 2 has the flashback where he's learning how to fight and they take on the
Right,
train.
and we see the Tuskens. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
so
it's-
episode 2 he also makes his weapon. So episode 2 is phenomenal.
I think
Okay.
episode 2.
Episode 2 is the one where he
after.
makes his weapons. I really liked episode
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Okay.
Maybe there's another way here. I'll stop sharing. I'm gonna look. Maybe IMBD gives.
Or
us
go
a
go on
better
Wikipedia. Go on
description.
Wikipedia because it'll come with the
Yeah,
summaries.
I'm
Okay,
trying to find a
I'm
list.
reading off. I have Wikipedia open already.
Yeah, because I think that our issue right now is that all those episodes were so similar to each other
Yeah.
They
it's
that they
were.
good.
kind of get grouped up into one. Is someone sharing?
There
Yeah.
you go.
Oh,
This
okay.
is it. This
This
is
is
good.
perfect.
Yeah.
This
this
is
is
There we
perfect.
go.
This is what I
There
was
we go.
thinking
Okay,
of.
here, perfect. All right, okay.
Yeah, you got it.
So we
So-
have 5 is number 1. And then
Five is
6
number 1.
6 is number 2.
Yeah.
Right. Come from the desert comes a stranger.
Oh,
That
we
was-
also saw
that was
Cad
fucking-
Bane for the first time in 6. So yeah.
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 Okay,
I think.
that's
I think.
the list
chapter
there.
I think
is-
two is the next one. I like 2 a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw
definitely
2, when I saw 2, I was like, okay, we are back in business, baby.
100%.
This is gonna be
Yeah.
amazing.
Two was really good. 2 is the one where he makes the weapon. I love that one.
And
Okay,
then
number
3.
4 is the dead last one.
I don't know, man. Maybe 3 is the last one because that's when the mods get introduced.
No, 4 is when the mods get introduced.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay. Yes,
Is
4
it?
is last.
Number three is when they have the fight with Chrysanthemum and they get the Rancor.
Okay.
Oh, that's true.
So-
That was good. That
And
was
we
good.
got our boy Machete.
yes. Yes. And that was that also the one where he guns down the biker gang?
That was
No.
the biker gang is episode 2. no?
Episode 5, I think. Yeah, see, they killed the biker gang that Fett believed to have massacred his
yeah.
Tusken tribe.
In
That was
episode
five?
before
5.
flying.
Okay.
So I
see
think-
now.
So I think it goes. So I think it goes
Hmm.
5, 6, 5, 6, 2. I think 4 was pretty good too. 4 was good.
You know, I
But
think
let's figure
4
out.
is
Wait,
no 3 is they get introduced in 3. The mods were introduced in 3.
Yes.
Oh,
mods
yeah,
were introduced in
yeah.
3. Yeah.
3 is a bad one. 4 was the
Three-
good one. 4
Yeah,
Four
4
was
was
when
good.
he got his shit back. With
And
Fett.
then just
Yeah,
went.
That was a good
ham.
episode.
Yeah,
That was a great
and then-
episode. 4 was
That
awesome.
was good. So I want to say 5, 6, 4 then 2, or 2 then 4.
I'd say 4 then 2, but 2 then 4 also works for me.
I say
Where
2
does
and
7
4.
I
2
say
and
2
4.
and 4.
So
Yeah.
5, 6, 2, 4. Where does 7 come in? Does 7 come in between?
See,
those,
I
or-
might put 7 above 4.
I agree. I agree with Joshin on that. Right.
4
I'd
has
put
some
7.
good
I'd put
stuff.
7 after 4.
You put
You
7
put
after
se-
4.
Why, Bobby?
Oh,
you
too
know
much
what? No, you know
cringe.
4. Because I don't know, there was too many scenes in 7 that had me being like,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. Like with the
Okay.
I feel like
Come on.
7 is worse than we wished it was.
yeah.
That is true.
I
Yeah.
Sad.
don't. 4 was cool, man. 4 had a lot of Fennec Shannon. I
Yeah,
think she's a
4
great
was cool.
character.
You know, also what happened in 7 was that we just got a couple good scenes, right? We talked about it when we were
Yeah.
watching it, right?
Yeah.
The Rancor scene, that was maybe like 10 minutes, right? Maybe less,
Not
right?
even.
I feel like
Yoda- The
Yoda
Grogu
stuff.
scene, right? That was nothing.
Yeah.
I just
Mando-
feel like the bad in episode 7 really overshadows all of it.
Yeah, I agree.
True. I guess
Like the
episode
Mando
4
and Boba
is
Fett
better.
like fighting together was awesome, but there was too many like the people of Freetown and the mods running around trying not to die, then having those stupid plans. Like there was too many dumb things. I was like,
Yeah,
nah, it's just
unfortunately.
not fun
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah,
I'd
I
go
feel
4
like
than 7.
four is memorable because four is one where we learn about Fennec Shan's background, right?
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
yeah, four had a really good emotional pull. I like that one. That was a good
I want to
one.
put 1 kind of above 7 too. Right?
Yeah,
reasoning-
I liked
Yeah.
one. One was pretty good.
Right. 1, I think
was
it.
alright.
You know, it wasn't as good as the.
It was really slow though.
It was
honestly.
slow
One
though.
was
You're right.
really
That's
slow.
my caution. That's my caution there, right? Like,
At
it
least
was-
7 had a lot of visuals that were cool. One was like, there wasn't much going on in 1.
So
Okay, wait.
5, 6, 2,
What's the
4,
what's the list again? I'm gonna write it down. So we have 5.
5,
Yeah, so it's 5,
6,
6, 2,
2,
4.
4, 7,
I'd say then
1.
7, 1, 3.
Yeah.
7, 1,
Yeah,
3.
3.
Hey,
Okay.
baby, what's your digits?
Yeah. 5, 6,
Oh,
2,
no.
4, 7, 1, 3.
I'll be calling you.
Oh my
digit,
God!
Shout
baby
out.
girl.
Look, guys! Look who directed the last 3 on the list.
Was it Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's
That's
sorry.
hilarious. Oh, wait, was it the one?
No.
Yeah, there you go. 7. Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Even
Dude,
after,
come on,
even
man.
after John Favreau wrote all the fucking episodes.
I
Damn.
mean, he's to blame a little bit too. Then if he wrote them, he's a little bit to blame also. You know what I mean?
If he introduced the mods, then you know.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's to
Ooh,
blame for
Favreau. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know how
Robert
much-
Rodriguez, dude, his directing, we clearly don't, or Star Wars doesn't gel with it.
No, I think I like
Wow.
Spy Kids. I like
No,
Spy
Spy
Kids.
Kids-
Who
For
doesn't?
what it is,
it
it's
works
good.
great.
It works
Yeah, I
well.
liked
Work
it.
as Spy Kids.
I liked it when
Or
I
Spy
was
Kids.
8.
No, I think it's still
I
pretty.
still like Spy Kids.
Yeah,
That
it's
shit
still-
did not go
it's
Should you get the
bad.
fuck out of here? It is a good movie.
Fuck
That is not spoiled milk. That is good.
It is-
It is good soup. That is good
You
soup.
know, it's good
Yeah.
because it's campy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Star Wars is
This
not
is-
that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Star Wars, well, it is because Palpatine was pretty campy, right? If you think about it, like
Not
I
in
am
the same
descended,
way.
Not in
right?
the same
but it's
way.
a different,
Not in
right?
the
It's a
same way.
different
Yeah,
type of
not in the same
campiness,
way.
right?
OG Palpatine was not that campy.
Yeah, dude. Trilogy,
Right,
main
right.
trilogy
It was
Palpatine was scary.
Prequel, Palpatine was pretty.
But
campy,
he was
right?
supposed to be campy when he was being.
I know.
Palpatine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is
Well,
that
not
that's
Palpatine, but-
it
But we're not
works,
talking
it
about
works.
Spy Kids campy, man. We're talking
Right,
about
right.
like.
and that's what I'm saying. Is
But
that,
those were walking thumbs in that movie.
Yeah, yeah. That's what. Which you can see how we got to the mods from that. Like
you
you
can, dude. You genuinely can, though. You can
Yeah.
see that.
like his
I'm
thought
pretty sure the
process,
mods
right?
were a good idea.
Meanwhile, Jurassic Park Girl directed like the best Star Wars thing I've seen in a while.
That was, I think, one of the best Mandalorian episodes, including Mando season 1 and 2. That was a great
100%,
episode.
100%.
Yeah, I could agree with that. That
And now
was a good
she's
episode.
she's directed a few of them, right?
Yeah, from the other shows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Well,
I-
that's a pretty solid list, I'd say. Not just.
I want to give a
unfortunate.
big shout out to episode 1 with that Sarlacc pit episode.
Yo, yeah, that was
was a
some
cool
good
scene.
stuff.
That was a
some
great
good
scene.
stuff.
Big shout
Yeah.
out. Watching him fight his way
Overall, I liked the show. It was pretty good entertainment. It's not as bad as like the sequel trilogy, but I just there was a lot of lost potential. That's my only
Right.
issue.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed watching it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We
fun
all
show.
watched it together. I enjoyed up until the point where we started watching it together. I enjoyed every single episode, right? I looked forward to it, and when I was watching it, it wasn't like, oh, let me grade this episode as I'm watching. I'm like, I enjoyed it, right? I was trying to get immersed in the world.
Yeah.
I think the reason that we're all kind of hurt is that, you know, at points we would get unimmersed from the world, right? Like,
Yeah.
like the mods with you know, Boba Fett kind of going there. Like we were immersed. We were there. We're like, okay, we get it. He's a crime lord. Yeah, we're cool. All of a sudden, you see the mods introduced, and it's like, where?
Yeah, Sajid, very
Right.
important to point out what Sajid's saying here. Like, we very much wanted to love this show.
Yes.
Like, we were
Yeah.
not trying to nitpick anything. So, like, we very much, like, love Boba Fett. We love Star Wars. So, like, we were in the show. That's why certain things annoyed us
Yeah.
Right.
when we were watching
I,
it, you know?
I think the best way to describe the show truly is like a bantha.
Wait. I want to hear his philosophical thought.
Get this, right? Like a bantha. It kind of stunk at times, right? It was in the beginning very slow, very methodical.
God.
But when it sprinted, it got going. It was big, but it got gassed really fast.
I'm pretty sure Banthas never sprint, though, but all right.
I don't.
No. When they got attacked, when the Tusken Raiders got attacked, the Banthas went shuffling off. That's their sprint. They moved and then they stopped. Their Bantha thing.
That was so basically episode 5 and 6 was a.
we have Robert Eager over here.
Yeah, Roger Ebert.
The
my God.
epitome of this season was like a man.
Like a Bantha.
Like a bantha.
Like a Bantha. Yeah, I think honestly, I agree with Bobby because there were certain moments, and Shiji too, because you said this when he was making the weapon, right? There were certain moments where I was like, oh my god, yes, this is perfect. This is peak Star Wars actually right now. You know, like this is really good. And then the Luke episodes, I was like, oh my god, I'm on the verge of tears. Then it's so funny how one little scene of like a smirk from an angsty teen just ruins it. It like that. It really
Not
it's,
in the universe anymore.
I was like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, come on. This is the Hunger Games.
Steven has so much hate for them.
I do not like the mods at all. Angsty teens don't work. They don't
Star
work.
Wars was built on angsty teens, my friend. Luke was the angstiest teen.
Luke
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Luke was a whiny teen. He's not angsty.
He was pretty.
He was pretty angsty, bro.
Did you watch
He
it?
just wasn't.
Yes!
He just wasn't cringy. He was pretty angsty.
Oh my god,
Young
Dude.
Anakin, bro.
Yeah.
And wait, are you saying young Anakin worked? I thought we all agreed that didn't work.
No. Young child
He was angsty.
Anakin in episode 1 makes sense. Homeboy is traumatized as a slave.
The whole prequels are bad because Anakin's angsty.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Prequels are not bad.
But,
No,
like, if
they
you-
are, and they're bad because
They
Anakin's
got-
angsty.
The
If
gospel.
you read the Luke's dialogue in A New Hope, and you hear him in the way it's like it screams angst, which makes sense. He's like 16, but like that's also his part of his character arc. Is he's supposed to?
He wants to have like a more fun
Right.
life and stuff. He wants to leave with fun. Right, but it
And he
worked
grows
because he
up.
wasn't goofy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They were too goofy.
And then the other thing, the reason we liked the Bryce Dallas Howard episode so much is that once we entered that episode, after the 50 minutes, we finally exited. And not at one point in the episode, you're like, I'm not in the universe of Star
Yes.
Wars.
100%,
Right?
100%.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
fully immersed. You're like, oh my god, I'm
Yeah.
in.
It,
Right?
it felt like you were leaving a movie theater after the episode ended
Right?
for me. I was
Versus-
like, holy shit.
Versus the other episodes, they do these weird random scenes out of nowhere where it's like, oh, what
Yeah.
just happened, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you get caught off, and then you can't pay attention to the rest of the episode, even if it's actually really good, right? Right. Think about. I think episode 7, like we placed it pretty low on the list, but it's a good episode. If you got
Dude, you
rid
got
of
Boba Fett riding a fucking Rancor.
right? you got
Come on.
Boba Fett Cad Bane showdown,
Yeah.
Mando and Boba
Episode
fighting.
There were
Seven.
so many cool scenes. Yeah.
Episode
But we
7 was
forget
such
about it.
Episode
Yeah.
7 was such a roller coaster. That's a problem because
It was,
there
it
was
was too much. Yeah.
there was
And
so
that's-
much bad in with that absolute
Yeah.
awesome. If
And
they have
that's
like
the issue.
if they have a director's cut of that where they just cut out those that immediately goes to like second on the list.
Well,
like,
no,
like,
not a director's cut. You don't want the director's cut of that.
no, not the
Right.
director's cut.
Give me a
We,
Bryce
You want
Dallas
the Bryce
Howard cut.
Dallas.
we
Bryce
need
Dallas
the-
Howard cut.
we need our savior, our Lord Savior, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Give
We
me
need
Bryce
we
Dallas
need,
Howard
the
cut.
Howard cut, yeah.
we need
The
the
Howard
Howard cut.
Yeah, not the Snyder cut, the Howard cut.
The Howard cut. The Howard cut. There we go.
They should give her a whole Star Wars show. Like give her season
Dude.
3 to do herself. I don't care. That was an awesome episode.
Oh,
Also, I will amend my statement because you were right. Luke is supposed to be an angsty teen, right? Angsty, cocky teens by bad actors, man. That recipe for disaster.
right.
It's
And who
just-
don't
it
fit the
doesn't
aesthetic
make
of this.
sense.
They don't fit the aesthetic.
And
They
see,
don't fit the
Luke
aesthetic.
changed.
They're
Luke-
supposed to be a gang, right? They're supposed to be like serious because they understand like they have to fight for their survival. But at the same time, they're like super cringe.
Yeah,
Nothing about them tonally worked or like anything.
nothing.
I
They,
think-
they were
I
so.
think most people would agree to that. I think most people would agree
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
So
It didn't make sense. Like it went back and forth depending on who was directing.
yeah, basically.
You could tell Bryce Dallas Howard was like, "Yeah, they're not in my episode."
Yeah, no, that was-
I think in her episode maybe they popped up once, and she was like, "Yeah, that's enough of them."
they might have. I don't remember if they were in this at all.
Robert
because that's how memorable they are.
Robert Rodriguez is like, guys, you forgot the mods, and Dallas is like,
She's like, no, I didn't.
He's
No, she's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
like, oh, there's actually a special set piece for them. I'll put them
Yeah.
over there, and she shoves them in the broom closet for the rest of the shoot.
Why do I feel like that's a scene from Victoria Shiji just wrapped her up? I feel like I've seen that episode on Nickelodeon at one point. All right,
That
boys.
was like,
Joshin, do you want to lead us out?
yeah. So this has been a great chat. We got a lot of interesting takes. Some of them alternative, some of them far superior to the actual series. And then on top of that, we're just gonna mosey our own way out of this and into the next one, like a bantha.